morning, everybody! I am so glad to be here once again for the official start of our Daily Creative Challenge today. This is the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, and we are on the official day one, so we're going to start actually working today. I am so glad to see everybody in the chat already having just a blast, talking about Christmas lists, what to put on them, checking them twice, obviously. There's this guy named Paco in the chat. I don't know where he's coming from, but he seems pretty cool. And everybody else is just naming off where they are, what time frame they're in. I love seeing that. Good morning, Lindsay Palmer. Howdy. That's a great little way of greeting. And Paco says, woo. I just watched Toy Story 2 again. Still holds up. It's probably my favorite Toy Story, but I think I saw it before the original one when I was a kid, so biased. Paco says, tuning in from next to you. If you guys don't know, Paco is right here making this entire thing work. So he's really the brains behind this whole operation. And thank you so much for making all this happen. This morning, we had so many things to take care of because we have a tablet here where we've got an iPad, we've got a laptop. All of this is plugged in and chugging along smoothly, all connected to the internet, thank goodness. So thank you, Adobe Gods, for making everything work today. We're going to be working in Adobe Photoshop on desktop as well as the iPad. And today, you can see on the Daily Creative Challenge page, there is a link below this video that will get you to this page. You can join to chat with the community, to download Photoshop if you haven't got that already. We've got a set of kind of loose instructions here. So each day you're going to get a challenge. So I'm going to give you a challenge today. And the whole week or 2 weeks is themed on winter cards. So these could be holiday cards or just themed for wintry feeling things. And the idea here is that you guys will take each challenge each day, make something, and then maybe at the end you choose to print a few of them and send them to your loved ones or just hang them up. Or you could do whatever with them. Send them as an e-card, any way to communicate and send creative messages to your loved ones is all good by me. I want you guys to not enjoy, but also enjoy. Join the chat that we've got going on. Obviously, you're very active in this chat. Hashtag Harry Potter is life. I'm into it. Oh, you guys just never fail to just be awesome. All right, so the community chat is here on Behance, of course, but we've also got a Discord. The Discord is highly active. We've already got people talking in it. I'm going to be a mentor these next 2 weeks, so if you want input from me or anyone at all, or to give input, hopefully, to others, there are tons of tabs here that you can use to connect with others and have specific talking points. Like if you have a very specific question, go to advice and ask a question, or the tips and tricks tab. And even just scrolling through the old challenges, I'm sure you'll find some really useful advice in here. So the Discord link is right here. It's going to be, there we go. Yeah. This is the Photoshop Discord. So it is specifically for Photoshop. If you're interested in any of the other Discords, every single challenge has a Discord associated with it. So if you're trying to learn Illustrator, hey, we've got an Illustrator Discord thanks to Andrew Hockrattle for yesterday. That party was amazing. I'm hoping that you guys tuned in for that because it was quite a spectacle. All right. So now that we've got all that set up, I also wanted to show you that if you're posting your work, which I'm hoping that you guys do this, post it to Behance as a portfolio that you can constantly change, so it doesn't need to be something that's when it's done, I post it. You can post every single day, and then at the end, it'll have this whole compilation of your work. It looks super impressive. And if you tag it with PS Daily Challenge, then we'll all be able to look at it. And at the end of this, I definitely want to just have some time to look at everybody's entries and just give you guys a big old golf clap because come on, that's awesome that we're all going to be doing this work together. You can see past challenges here, and it's just super impressive what people come up with. Actually, Andrew and I were talking yesterday. We were like, it would be so cool if everybody had the same prompt of something and you just see how many different ways on one stage that several artists work on this thing, and we all come in and say, this is how we problem solved. This is how we thought of this in completely different ways. It's a really good example of how different everybody's brain handles these, design challenges. All right, so with all of that said, I love seeing you guys pop up in the chat. Sam Peterson, as always, thank you for being here. One of our lovely mods. Clarence Young saying hello to Sam. Lovely. Anthony Jackson says, cool. I probably missed what that's referring to, but I am so happy that you're here and really cool. It looks like Mandy says, wait, there's an Illustrator one now? Yeah, there is. The very first one happened yesterday, and it's going to be going for 2 weeks. So I believe, what's the timing on that? Actually, let's pop in. Oh, 2 o'clock. Okay, excellent. So yeah, there is a whole schedule for Adobe Live. Each single day, I start off the day, woohoo, good morning. And then we've got, oh yeah, that's me at 9 a.m. Good job, you guys, for being here. And then we've got Ramsey, who's just amazing, doing a full Adobe Live, so that's 2.5 hours. And then the Daily Creative Challenge with Andrea, who is my fellow resident. She does XD challenges. And then this year's resident, Julie Sandusky, is on the other Adobe Live. She's designing for any screen. And then the Illustrator one is the last one of the day at 2 p.m. So that's... yeah, here's the AI Discord if you guys want to join that and talk with Andrew or any of the other mentors on there, or anybody just wanting to be involved with us. And it looks like it's going to be a trip to go through the daily creative challenges for the Illustrator one, because Andrew is like, he's a teacher, he communicates amazingly, but it's all about like connotations and connecting words with things that come to mind. And it just, he has a specific word for it that is eluding me at the moment, but it's definitely worth tuning in no matter what you like to do artistically. All right, so let's hop into the challenge today because I've already talked too much and I want to get a lot done. I have given you guys starter files. This is literally what it looks like when you open it up, except it's not got this one little folder at the top. That's where I just practiced making it. But this is a file that I used on the iPad Photoshop. I actually should mention. So all of the challenges these next 2 weeks can be done on the desktop or the iPad version of Photoshop. So I started all of these challenges on the iPad and just wanted to give you guys an idea of like what tools you can use a ton in the iPad version. And this was very easy to just like pop in there, draw a few straight lines. You'll see exactly what this is going to turn into in the future. We're going to kind of look like a faux stained glass kind of thing. This was one of my like connotations of wintertime, was a lot of stained glass and light and like glowy effects and things like that. So this is going to turn from whatever the heck it looks like right now to something glowy and colorful and beautiful. All right, so what we're gonna do is hop in, use one of the most basic tools that we have at our disposal, the paint bucket tool. So when you have a layer that has any kind of like lines like this, you can fill in between those lines with the paint bucket tool. So you can just plop in whatever color. These lines are like a, let's see here, like a dark purpley blue. And so what I wanted to do is stay in the range of blues and kind of like go for a lighter touch, but we're gonna generally, I mean, this doesn't have to be perfect at all. You can choose whatever colors, but we're going to, oh, I have the pixels locked, that's why I wasn't doing it. We're going to generally just start popping in color on any of these. And if you'll see the challenge today, it looks like, or it's labeled as like selection, and you'll see what that means later. Right now, we're just filling things in, and I don't want these necessarily to touch sides. We're gonna go for a few different colors here. So it won't just be like one color and then white behind it. It's gonna be a lot of different blues at first. And then we're going to use selection and, what do you call them? Not blend modes, but adjustment layers. There we go. I should know this, right? Adjustment layers to change the colors up slightly. And I can't wait to show you exactly what this looks like at the end, because it's really fun to just like pop it into place. But as I'm doing this, I would love for you guys to tell me what your favorite or most used tool is in the chat, just so I can get an idea of like what you guys like about Photoshop, and maybe if I do a challenge again, like what you guys want to learn about, what you use the most, anything like that. All right, and I'm gonna go to another blue, slightly lighter, and I think I want to go for a slightly cooler one, which means like when you have a warm and sorry, I just saw my best friend Anthony's in the chat. Hey ya! He says, Anna, hi, you're glowy and colorful and beautiful. You are what you draw, you know? So the colors, Anthony. The colors that I'm choosing are all very similar, but they're going to be what's called analogous, kind of. On a color wheel, those are just friends on one side. So they all connect to each other on one side of the color wheel. So you have like blue, and on the other sides of blue are blue-green and blue-purple, because purple and green have blue in them, you know? So you're going for those in-betweens all next to each other. And it creates a very harmonious color palette, super simply and very fast. So as I am popping these in here, beep, boop, beep, beep. This is probably the most like, even like it's not intensive or anything, but like this is the most involved part of this entire thing, which is silly because it's not involved at all. But it's something that, you know, coming up with these challenges and everything, I really want you guys to learn something new, but I also want it to be super approachable for anybody who is coming into Photoshop for the first time. I really hope that if you haven't used it before, the paint bucket is like one of the most approachable things. Whoops, I colored the line. Because you're literally just poking at it. I don't need a tablet for this. I could do it with a mouse, but I'm just super comfortable with a tablet or a Cintiq or an iPad or whatever you got, you know? These tiny little ones are the finicky. And again, I'm gonna try to avoid having them right up next to each other. All right. And then our last little color is gonna be, I'm gonna use this and then go slightly more saturated and a little bit lighter, just so it's slightly different. Boop, boop, boop. And we can zoom in here, actually. Let's do fill the screen and zoom in just to show you the last little bits. Boom, the bits, the bits. Oh my gosh, the tiniest one. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If there are tiny little white spaces, don't even worry about that. Like, it's not gonna matter in the end, honestly. And this is the point at which, okay, we've got a color palette. It doesn't look like spectacular. It kind of looks like a little 80s-ish. I don't know, I get a vibe from it. But what we're gonna do to it next is kind of dial in that color just a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is add an adjustment layer. So at the bottom of your layers tab, which you can find your layers, if you don't see them in Photoshop, you can always go to window and go to layers, and it's all alphabetical in here, so super easy to find. And then once you have your layers panel up, I want you to create a new layer, which is called an adjustment layer. And these allow you to just have that little bit of finesse and touch on whatever is below it, basically. And for this one, I'm gonna go to color balance. There are three main adjustment layers that I like to use for color, and it's color balance, selective color, and hue and saturation. So you kind of have to just kind of get a feel for what you want out of your color changes. Like for this one in particular, I just want to nudge it to a more harmonious palette. Like I'm feeling like the green blues are standing out a little too much, and maybe that's because I went too hard on the purpley blues, but I can fix that. I can make it all completely harmonious. All right, so one thing I'm going to do is go to the color balance layer, and I'm gonna hover over in between the other two while pressing Alt, and this creates a clipping mask option. So you see that little box with the arrow pop up? That creates a clipping mask if I just click down. That means that it's only going to affect this layer below it. So all I have to do is mess with this, and it'll only affect that one layer and nothing else. This is going to be super important going forward because we're going to use these on all of our other layers. All right, so I'm making these just kind of fit what I want to do. A lot of this is up to your eye. And so when you're going back and forth on these little sliders, it's set to mid-tone, shadows, and highlights, so you can go through and really, you know, fine tune every single one of these. But what I want you to do is get in the habit of going too far. So if you slide it from like one side to the next, you can see exactly how far is like, oh, I don't want it that purple. Oh, I don't want it that green. So you're trying to find like, what is that limit, and sliding between the two will give you an idea of what your eye wants. So that's something that I use with literally everything. Like if the values are too light or too dark, I always want to slide between those and see what is too light, what is too dark. I don't know until I've pushed it. And then it's always easier to rein it back in after that. All right. So we've got our adjustment layer. You can see the difference here. It just made everything a little bit more purpley. And I love that because as we're going forward, I have in mind this color palette that goes from really cool to really warm. So what I want to start with is this kind of purpley blue palette. And then I am going to, for the sake of this, I think I'm gonna leave this here. Sometimes I would collapse this down. And all you have to do, there's a hotkey for that. What you would do is go on the color balance layer and do Command or Control E, and it will merge whatever layer you're on with the one below it. But I don't wanna do that, so I'm gonna Command or Control Z and undo it. Of course it's not working, I don't know why. Maybe I guess Command Alt Z works on this one. I don't know. But if you just mess around with it, you'll find the keys that work for you. And the newer versions of Photoshop should have Control or Command Z goes back. It used to not be that way. So it's a little new thing to get used to. Just a hands up in the chat, I want to see who's familiar with Photoshop and who's total newbie, because I'm very curious about this demographic and see where people are coming from. Amanda says, selective color makes me flash back to my wedding photos because I got married when everyone thought it was cool to do a black and white photo with the flowers or something random in color. Oh my gosh, selective color. Anthony's in the chat. Anthony, do you remember how many selective color photo shoots we did in college? It's so funny. He actually got on the front of a magazine with a picture of me smelling a flower, and I think that was selective color. It's so funny. That was when you would select out one element of it, and it would be like, okay, this is a red rose. Everything else black and white. Boom, moody. Nailed it. Oh my gosh, look at all these people. All right, hands up, hands up. I love it. Awesome. Everybody's familiar, basically. Oh, that's great. Asma, I want to say hello from Egypt. Oh my gosh, I'm just so happy that you're here. What time is it in Egypt? We had somebody from Germany earlier, Sean, and he was saying good evening. Oh my gosh. Dama, almost an expert. That's amazing. Clarence is fairly new. Excellent. Yeah, everybody seems pretty familiar with it. Awesome. I love it. Asma, you are so beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. I actually had a really sweet person randomly come up to me at my hotel and give me a rose. They said, you look really pretty today. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really sweet. And then my friend came in who was meeting with me and I was like, here's a rose. All right. So what we're going to do is start into our selections now. I'm on that base layer that has all of our lovely colors. And all I did was go to the Marquee Tool, which is a form of selection. It gives you a base shape, basically. So it comes in rectangle or elliptical Marquee tool, which is so funny. Elliptical. But if you long press down on this tool, it will give you all of the shape options to use. And then if you press Shift while you're dragging it out, it will give you should give you a constrained circle. I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong on the Mac. But there are definitely ways to constrain it so that it's got equal proportions and it stays exactly, like especially for the square, if you want it to be square and not a rectangle, it's super important to constrain those proportions. All right, and look at that. The selection is staying whole even outside of the canvas. I think that's something new as well. All right, excellent. So I'm moving my circle to where I feel like is a good spot. And I'm going to use some more hotkeys on this layer. I'm going to do Command J. This just made an entirely new layer. Whoops, it got rid of my Alt clipping mask. But all I had to do was drag this up and then Alt hover between the two and reclip it. All right, so it's created this new circle, and you can see the color balance layer isn't tied to this one. So it's the original colors that we had. That's kind of cool, actually. You can see just like a slight ring. It's really not evident because we only lightly messed with the colors. And here we have a circle that is just freewheeling out here, and like, what are we gonna do with it? We're going to hit Command or Control T, or you can go up to Edit, Transform, and you have all of these options for how to transform. All I really want to do is rotate this. Look at that. Boom. Nifty. So what we're doing here is all of those lines that we're intersecting are now intersecting differently. So it looks completely like, oh my gosh, there's a new jumble. And there's this clean edge where everything doesn't meet. And maybe we have some weird meeting points, some like odd tangents that happen or something. Those are like little happy accidents, you know? It just makes it look like possibly stained glass windowing. Another thing we're gonna do is add some more color balance to this one. And then we're probably going to end up using those other color adjustments as well. So you'll get a chance to see all of these in action. All right, so if I'm going warmer, and this is a blue, purple blue, then I want to go to like a true blue, then a green blue, and then like a green yellow, and then, you know, yellow orange, and then to red. So if we're going from cooler to warmer, that's where we're going around the circle in that direction. I might not use all of those colors in between, but that's kind of the general idea. So I've got different colors. I've got the selection all transformed around. Now what I'm going to do is take another circle selection inside of our circle. And it doesn't have to be from the center or anything. It can be from any little place that I want it to be here. And then I'm going to do another Control J. And reclip this because I keep doing that. All right, so this is our circle within a circle. It's slightly different colors, again, because the color balance isn't applied to this one. Same as the other time, I'm going to Control or Command T to transform, and I'm going to rotate it around, and let's see, I kind of want to squish it a little bit. Squish, there we go. And like we can see kind of some of the edges, see where these like lines meet up here. If I don't want it, I can just tilt it a little bit more. If I do want it, I can make it like whoop right into place. So it's really up to your taste what you want here. And then we're going to add another one. Let's see. Let's do another color balance and then maybe a hue saturation, because the more you go off of the original color, the more you're gonna need power behind it. Like, oh, I'm changing it to this. So I'm going to go to, let's see. Oh yeah, getting into that green. Let's do that and have the last one be like yellowy. Let's go from like purple blue to like a yellow glowing in the center. So we've got this, and let's do a little bit of hue saturation just to push it even further into the green range. Oh yeah, there we go. Getting clearer colors, a little less muddy. Carmen asks, silly question. There are no silly questions. Where do I find the file for today's challenge? I believe that should be in the challenge tab or the info tab. I'm not quite sure, but it's definitely on this page. So if you are seeing this video, you have access to the file. And you should definitely get the file so you can follow along. But of course, this is to spark your inspiration as well. So I want you guys to really go crazy with this and take it to whatever finish you want to give it. All right, Command J. Real quick, I'm gonna go through this because I want to get a lot done. See, when those clipped layers fall off, you can see they affect everything behind it and it looks kind of silly. All right, real quick, I'm going to throw a hue saturation layer on here. And I'm going to try to make it as yellow as possible. Let's see what we can do here. Oh wait, this is color balance. Hue saturation, boom. Hue saturation has more of a base power to it where it can affect the colors much more quickly. So you see this bar along the top, it can give you control over all the colors, but this is applied to the masters. So if I wanna go into the blues, I can change the blues to something else. But really, I want to give this a yellow glow. So real quick, I'm going to just add a soft light layer, and I'm going to use the gradient tool. Make sure it's a radial gradient and it's fading from one color to nothing. And I'm going to give it a yellow tone. Boom. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. This is actually doing it backwards. So I'm going to press X. Wait. Haha. Interesting. Okay, it's doing something. But yes, I want a yellow gradient to come out from the center. So that would be, here we go. Boom. I'm gonna delete this, add a new one, turn it to soft light. and have it glow from the center. It refuses to glow from the center for some reason, but unfortunately I'm out of time for today. But I want to give you guys a look at this final file when it does glow from the center for sure. So I'm gonna post this to my Behance page, so please check it out. I will have it ready for you tomorrow. And then tomorrow there's a new challenge. So please use the selection tool, use these fill buckets, and make something yourself. And just, I wanna see what you guys come up with. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the Discord. See you later.